Drawing this cute cat ghost in Procreate is easier than you think, and I'm going to show you step by step how you can do it. Before you start, make sure to download the color palette and that you have all my free brushes. They are linked in the description of this video. And if you enjoyed this tutorial and like to draw more of me, make sure to check out my Patreon. I add their new video every week and I will teach you different techniques and styles. Link is in the description. So with all that being said, grab your drawing tools, relax, and let's start. Let's make a new canvas, A4 canvas from Procreate. Rotate it this way. And we can do a very simple sketch for the ghost. Let's pick the color. Let's take color number 4 and pick a brush. Let's go here to sketching and I'm going to use 6B pencil. It doesn't really matter. Let's make the brush size 19 and we can draw now a ghost shape. Today we're going to draw a cat ghost. So it will have like a nice pointy ears on top. So let's start with drawing the head, just a circle like this. Now let's draw a line going here along the front of his face. Draw kind of like a wavy line like this. Now we can draw a wavy line at the bottom. And we can make it go up just a little bit, so like that. Then let's go back to the head and go around it. And connect it here with the end of that line at the bottom. I'm just going to fix here this front, make it less dent in here. Okay, so something like this. Now we can draw the ears. So just 2 triangle shapes here on top. And before we draw the eyes and the hands, let's adjust it. So let's take the arrow tool. And over here I want to make him a little bit wider. So I want to stretch it just one way. So at the bottom I'm going to pick here freeform option. And stretch it like that. Just a little bit. And now if you want to make him bigger or smaller, you can pick here uniform option. And just resize it. I'll make him a little bit bigger, like this. Okay. When you're happy with the shape, just tap here to finish this. So now let's draw the arms. So somewhere more or less in the middle of his body, we can draw here a shape like this for one arm. And then another one in the same position. And I want him to hold here a pumpkin basket. So let's draw here an arc like this. Make it double now. For the top of the pumpkin we can draw an oval shape, like this. And then draw an arc here at the bottom. Okay, like that. Now let's draw his face. So you can pick any kind of eyes that you like. You can just do 2 small dots like this. You can draw oval shapes maybe like that. I want to go here for something more rounded, like that. I'm just drawing here 2 circles. For the mouth, I'm going to make him look like he's trying to be scary. I'll draw a shape like this. And then over here, I'll add him some cheeks. So oval shapes like that, this way. And he will have also whiskers. So I'm going to add few lines over here, like that. And also I would like him to have some kind of highlights in his eyes. So I'll add maybe 3 dots, like that. We can still draw the face for the pumpkin. Let's draw 2 triangles for the eyes, like that. Now for the nose, a triangle going upside down. And a zigzaggy line for the mouth. Okay? And then we can divide this pumpkin here with lines like this. Okay, so the sketch here is finished. We are going to draw first him, and then we can draw the butts and the background. So now that we have sketch, we can turn down the opacity of this. Let's open the layers, tap over here and turn it down. And also for the sketch, we can change the blending mode of this to multiply. Okay. Now let's make a new layer and we can put it under the sketch over here. We can start outlining this. Let's pick the color. Take color number 1. And let's pick a brush. Let's go to calligraphy and take monoline brush. Let's make the size 20. And we can outline him. We're going to outline just a ghost. And before we do that, we can change here one setting so our lines will not be shaky. Let's go to the Actions menu, Preferences, Pressure and Smoothing, and make here the stabilization a higher number, something around 40–50%. Okay, so now let's outline this. Let's add him the hand. Now this one. We can outline the mouth. And right away we can color this inside. So drag and drop the color in here. And let's draw the eyes. To draw a nice circle, you can hold your pencil on the screen. And now if you want the perfect circle, you can put your finger on the screen like this. Same for this one. And for the whiskers, I will take smaller brush size, 11%, and just draw here 3 lines like this. If you want to make a line straight, just hold your pencil on the screen. So the outline for the ghost is ready. Now let's outline the pumpkin. For this, we're going to make a new layer. We can put it under the ghost over here. And we're going to use a different color. Let's take color number 2. Let's make the brush size again 20 and outline this. Let's start here with drawing an oval shape. Like this. Hold your pencil on the screen. And now if you want, you can just tap here and edit the points. Okay. When you finish, tap with your finger on the screen. Let's continue. So outline now the top handle. Here again, you can use the quick shape. So just hold your pencil on the screen to make a nice arc. And then you can tap here to adjust the points. Okay. If you want to fix your lines, you can take the eraser, tap on it and set it to the same brush, so calligraphy and monoline brush, and just fix it here if you have to. Okay. We can draw on the same layer his face. Let's change the color for this. Take color number 4. Let's make the brush size smaller for this, maybe about 4%. And again, you can use the quick shape to make a nice triangles. You can tap here to adjust the points. Color this inside. Okay, and now the smile. Okay, so like this. Now we can draw here those lines on the pumpkin. We are going to do it on a new layer that will be underneath the pumpkin outlines over here. Let's take color number 3. Let's use here this smaller brush size, size 4, and just draw those lines. We're doing this here on a new layer because now when you draw, you can just hide here those ends of those lines under the main outline. And this way it will look nicer. Okay, so like this. And also we need to add here still blush for the ghost. We can maybe just do it here on the outlines for the ghost. So let's go to this layer over here. Let's change the color, take color number 6. And just draw here 2 ovals. Again, hold your pencil on the screen to make this a nice oval shape. Let's color this inside. And now over here. Okay. And color this inside. So we have all the outlines ready. We can start coloring this. Let's start here with the ghost. First, let's turn off the sketch. We don't need to see this anymore. So we can just tap over here. And now to color inside of those outlines, we can set them as reference. So let's tap over here and pick reference. Now let's make a new layer and put it under the reference layer over here. So this way we can now just drag and drop the color into this shape. Let's pick the color, take color number 7 and drag and drop it in here. Okay. We also have to drag and drop it over here to this hand because this is separate area. And this is colored. As you can see, our pumpkin disappeared. We have to move it above this shape. So let's swipe on those 2 layers to the right, like this, and move it here above this colored area. Okay? Now let's color the pumpkin. So we're going to tap here on this pumpkin outline, tap on it again, and pick reference. Let's make a new layer now. We can put it under those lines on the pumpkin over here. And let's color this. Let's take color number 5 and drag and drop it into here. And now also over here. Okay. So all the base shapes are colored now. But now we have here this top handle on top of the ghost hand. It shouldn't be like this. We need to erase this. So let's start here with those colors. Let's take the eraser. It is set as monoline brush. You can make it bigger, 100%, and just erase this. Okay, we don't need to see this over here. And now same for the outlines. Let's go to the outlines layer over here and erase it. Okay, so now everything looks okay. We can start adding here some kind of shading. Let's start with the ghost. But before we do that, we can turn off the reference on this layer. So let's tap over here and turn off reference. So this way it will not mess up our process. Okay, let's go to the ghost color over here. And to draw now only inside of this shape, we have to set this layer as alpha lock. Let's tap here and pick alpha lock. Let's pick the color. Take color number 8. And let's pick a brush. Let's go to airbrushing and take soft brush. We can make the brush size maybe about 11. And just color here the bottom part, going up like this. And if you think that you have problems coloring, we can now turn off that stabilization in the preferences. Let's go to the actions menu, preferences, pressure and smoothing, and make it lower number again, about 16%. So now you can draw here more loosely. Okay. And now let's take a small break, and I would like to ask you to write a comment, I can draw this. It would mean a lot to me. I would know that you enjoyed this video and I could see who is watching me, so thank you for doing that. And now let's go back to drawing. Let's make it fade away nicely like this. Now let's add another color, color number 9. Let's again start here at the bottom, make it a little bit darker. We are trying to create here a nice gradient. So now we're not going up all the way here, just like that. Okay. And now let's add the darkest color, color number 10, over here to the bottom. Okay. So like this. And to make this transition even smoother, we can add here Gaussian blur. So let's go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur over here. Now swipe your pencil on the screen to the blur size. And let's make it here about 12%. Okay, tap here to finish this. Right away, we can add here some shadows. For this, we can make a new layer on top of this one. And now to draw only on this shape, we have to set this layer as clipping mask. So let's tap here and pick clipping mask. Let's change the blending mode of this. Tap over here. And let's take today here color burn. This way we're going to get here a nice color effect. Let's pick the color for the shadows. Take color number 11. And let's go back here to our calligraphy and monoline brush. Let's make the brush size 100%. And now we can draw the shadows. Let's draw them on the right side of him and the bottom part. So over here we can add small line around his ear on the right side. And now over here like that. Let's make it a little bit thicker. Color this whole side of him like this. Okay. We can add now a little bit at the bottom part of his arm. And don't worry, now this is not the nicest. We can erase here what we don't want to see in a second. Let's add it also over here under this arm. Okay. And now just a small line here at the bottom. We can make here this corner rounded a little bit to make it look nicer. Okay. And also there'll be some shadow from the pumpkin. So let's draw a shadow underneath it and on the right side. And also here, maybe with a smaller brush size, 35%. We can have some shadow from this handle, like that. Now let's take the eraser and we can erase what we shouldn't have drawn. So I'll make the brush size maybe 38 and over here I'll make it look nicer. Okay. And over here I'll fix this ear a little bit. And now I'm happy with this. This is a little bit too strong. We can turn down the opacity of this. Let's go over here and turn it down. I'm going to make it here about 38%. And now we can add here a second layer for the shadows. So let's make a new layer. Let's also set it as clipping mask. And right away also change it to color burn. Let's take the brush. And we can draw like a double shadow. So again, in the same spots, just a little bit lower, we are going to draw shadow. This way I think it would be more interesting. And don't worry, now this is a little bit too dark, we can turn down the opacity. And if you struggle with your lines being shaky, again, you can just change the preferences and pressure smoothing. I'm going to do it because I find my lines are a little bit too shaky over here and they don't look the nicest. And now, as you can see, I came outside of the shapes again, but this time we don't have to erase it manually. We can just go to this layer underneath and select everything outside of the shapes and then cut it away from the top layer. So let's tap over here and pick select, turn off color fill, and now to select everything outside, let's tap here on invert. And with this selected, let's go to this layer over here, tap on it and pick clear. Okay, so this way everything was erased fast and nicely. Let's turn down the opacity of this layer. I will make it 14%. Okay, now we can add some shading to the pumpkin. So let's go to this layer over here. Let's set this layer's alpha lock, tap over here and pick alpha lock. And now I want to add the shading only to this main part. We have to select it. Let's take the selection. Over here at the bottom, let's pick automatic and just tap over here. Okay, you can hold and swipe your pencil on the screen to adjust the selection threshold. So with this selected, we can take the brush, we can tap on it again and set it as airbrushing and soft brush. Let's pick the color, take color number 12, and we can just add this here to the bottom part, like this. Okay, and now make it darker with color number 13. Just color here more at the bottom, like this, and this is enough. Now we can finish the selection and select here this oval shape. So let's tap on the selection again, tap over here, take the brush, let's change the color back to 12. For this we can make the brush size a little bit smaller, maybe 4%, and add it over here at the bottom and left side like this, okay? Now let's take darker color, color number 13, and add it closer to the left side and the bottom part like this. Okay, and this is enough. So just tap over here to finish this. Now let's add here some shadows. So for this, let's make a new layer on top, set it as clipping mask, and change it to color burn. Let's take our colors for the shadows, color number 11. Change the brush to calligraphy and monoline brush. And we can draw here shadows like that. So on the right and bottom side. A little bit here on the bottom of the handle. And now also over here inside. So like this. Let's turn down the opacity of this. I will make it here 19%. And now again, we can do that double shadow. So let's make one more layer, set it as clipping mask, change it to color burn, and just draw here smaller lines. Now I'm going to make the brush size smaller, maybe 11, to be more precise over here. Okay, and let's turn down the opacity of this one. I will make it here 12%. Okay, so this part is finished. Now let's add here some lights. Let's make a new layer on top of everything over here. And let's pick the color. Let's take color number 14. Let's make the brush size maybe about 35. And we can draw some lights. So here on those white parts, they will not be very visible, but let's still draw them. Okay, like this. So let's just draw here some shapes along his arms for now. Now the top of his head. Okay, a little bit on his ear. Now some here at the bottom part and front. Maybe a bigger shape like this. We can color this inside. And now on the pumpkin. So here I'll just draw two blobby shapes, one like this and one like this. We can now change the blending mode of this. Let's tap here and set it to overlay. And now turn down the opacity. So this is more subtle. I'll make the opacity 38%. Okay, let's still add here the highlights that we draw for the eyes. Let's make a new layer for this. And let's just draw them. So I will draw 3 dots. Okay, so the ghost character is finished. Now we can work on the background. Let's make a new layer for this and move it all the way to the bottom over here. For the background, we're going to add here some orange color. Let's take color number 12. And now let's pick a brush. Let's take airbrushing and soft brush. Make the brush size quite big, about 43%. And just add it over here like that. Make it darker here on the sides. In this way. Okay, we want to keep the middle part lighter. So like this. Now we can make those corners even darker. Let's take color number 13. Make the brush size smaller, about 21%. And make this darker here like that. Also on this side. Okay. And to make this transition nicer, we can add here Gaussian blur. So let's go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur. Swipe your pencil on the screen and maybe let's make it here about 14%. Okay. Now let's draw the shadow under the ghost. Let's make a new layer on top of this. Set it as multiply. Let's change the color. Let's take color number 12. Change the brush. Let's go back to calligraphy and monoline brush. And we can just draw here an oval shape. So draw it like that. Hold your pencil on the screen. And to make this ellipse horizontal, you can just put your finger over here. Okay, so just like this. Now we can slightly adjust it. Let's tap over here. I think like this is nice. Tap with your finger on the screen to finish this and color inside. Let's turn down the opacity of this. I will make it here 23%. Okay. Now we can draw here some kind of bats around him. Let's make a new layer for this. Let's pick the color. Take color number 4. And to draw them quickly and easily, we can put here symmetry tool on. So let's go to the actions menu, canvas, turn on drawing guide, and now tap on edit drawing guide and pick here symmetry. In the options, make sure you have vertical selected, and now we can move here this line. So just tap over here and let's move it somewhere to the side. Okay. Now tap on done, and over here we can draw our first bat. We're going to draw it in a very simple way. Let's make the brush size smaller, maybe 11, and draw here some kind of shape like this for the body. Now we can draw the head, small ears, so just small lines like that. Let's color this inside. Okay, and now let's draw the wings. So let's draw them like that. And now some arcs connecting them with the body. Let's color this inside. And maybe I'm going to just make this bottom part shorter, so I can take the eraser and just erase it. Okay, maybe that was too much. I think like this, it's nice. We can add some yellow eyes for him. Let's take color number 3 and just draw here 2 dots like this, and this is enough. So our bat is ready. We're going to duplicate this layer and just move it around on the canvas. So first let's take arrow tool. Let's move this one first somewhere else. Make it smaller. Maybe I'll put it over here like that. Okay. And now let's duplicate it. Swipe on it to the left and pick duplicate. Let's move it. Maybe this one can be somewhere over here. Make it even smaller now. Okay. Now let's go back to the first layer with the bat and duplicate it. Take the arrow tool and move it. I'll put this one maybe somewhere over here. Again, now let's go to the first layer and duplicate it. And now move it. We are going back to the original layer to duplicate it because every time when we duplicate something, it loses the quality a little bit. So going back to the original one, it doesn't really affect this because every time we are just duplicating the same layer. So the quality will be the same. Let's do it one more time. Maybe this one can be over here bigger, like that. And I think I'll just rotate this one. I'll grab this layer and maybe put him this way. We can now turn off the symmetry line. We don't need to see this anymore. Let's go to the Actions menu, Canvas, and turn off Drawing Guide. And now let's draw here some kind of moon. Let's make a new layer under all the beds over here. Let's pick the color. Take color number 15. And let's just draw here a circle somewhere over here like this. Hold your pencil on the screen and put your finger here to make this a perfect circle. Let's color this inside. I'm going to move it closer to the ghost, maybe somewhere over here, like that. Okay. We can blur this just a little bit, so it's not so sharp. Let's go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur. Let's make the blur size maybe 4%. And in the end, we can add here some kind of castle in the background. So let's make a new layer. Let's pick the color. Let's take color number 11. And we can draw some kind of castle shape. It doesn't have to be anything precise because we're going to blur this. So we can start with drawing here some kind of rectangle like this. Also, it doesn't have to be straight because this is like a witch house, so it can be all wobbly and shaky. Nothing precise. Just draw here some weird shapes. Okay, like this. I think like this is fine. We can now color this inside. So drag and drop the color into the spaces. Before that, make sure that your shapes are closed so you can actually color this inside. You can tap over here to continue filling, to make it faster. And now just tap on empty spaces you want to color. Okay, when you finish tap over here. And now we can blur this. I still missed one shape over here. So let's go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur. Let's make this here maybe 7%. To make it look nicer, we can change the blending mode of this. So let's go over here. Let's set it as linear burn and turn down the opacity. So it's like faded away in there. I'll make it 44%. And now let's fade away the bottom part. So let's take the eraser. Let's tap on it. Set it to airbrushing and soft brush. With the brush size maybe 16. We can very lightly erase here this bottom part. So it doesn't have like a sharp edge over here. Okay. And now let's also erase here this moon part that is behind the castle. So for this, we're going to select this layer. Let's tap here and pick select. Make sure color fill is off. And with this selected, let's go to the moon, tap here and pick clear. Okay, so now this looks better. Okay, and maybe I will make this part a little bit smaller. So I'm going to find it. It's this one. I'll select this layer, take arrow tool and make him smaller. So he's not so distracting over here. And I will still add one bed over here to this side. So I'm going to take the original layer, duplicate it, and now move it somewhere over here. Okay, and now this illustration is finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you can share your drawing with me on Instagram. I would love to see it. And if you'd like to draw more of me, don't forget to check out my Patreon. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!